Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this beautiful sunny day. In Penfield, we seem to have a pretty good track record for Memorial Day. So I hope everybody enjoys their day, enjoys the sun, enjoys this Memorial Day service. My name is Andy Moore, and on behalf of the entire Penfield Town Board, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Penfield Amphitheater for our Memorial Day service. At this time, I'd like to ask all veterans and active military personnel to stand to be recognized. Would everyone please rise for the national anthem to be sung by Penfield High School student Matthew Swenson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And today's Pledge of Allegiance will be done by Boy Scout Troop 310. Will they please come forward?
Will everyone please rise? I'm salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I invite you to join me in prayer. Almighty God, you are the first and the last, the one who is, who was, and who ever will be. We praise you for your glory, and we thank you for your blessings. We thank you especially for the ties that bind us to those who have died. Their deeds of love and mercy live in us. Their valor and courage are our heritage. Their vision and sacrifice are our example. We remember those who have served faithfully in their generation. We honor their service at home, in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and on the seas. We remember those who died. We honor those who were wounded, those who served, and those who are serving now. May we never dishonor their names or their duty. O God of love, keep the departed alive in the work we do and in the tasks we inherited from them. Strengthen our hands and our hearts. Give us the boldness to face any dangerous task to which we may be called, and fill us with the hope of your promises, promises which we see now in part, but which we anticipate to see one day in full. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Good morning. I'd like to introduce the guest speaker. Colonel Edward E. Woody Mensch is U.S. Air Force, retired. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He graduated from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh in 1955 and was commissioned through ROTC program at that same time. Woody entered the active Air Force in 1956 and went into pilot training, receiving his wings in 1957. He remained on active duty through 1960 and then returned to civilian life. He immediately joined the reserves, where he remained for the next 26 years, flying in a variety of aircraft, completing over 4,500 flying hours, and achieving the rank of full colonel. He was also the group commander of the reserve group with over 1,000 people in his command. He retired in 1986. Woody is a member of the Military Official Association of America. He served as New York State President from 2005 to 2009. He's also one of the founding directors of the Honor Flight Rochester, an organization devoted to taking World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. to review their memorial. Woody was married to Peggy Nichols Mensch, and they have 3 children. Their marriage lasted 38 years until Peggy's death in 1994. He and his second wife, Marion, have been married for 10 years. He's a Penfield resident for over 28 years, and now he lives in Pittsburgh. He's a 28-year retiree from Xerox as well. So I'd like to introduce Colonel Edward E. Woody Mensch.
Well, good morning. What a wonderful day to see the sun out and the warmth that we're going to experience here today. Hopefully it's not too bad. But it is my pleasure, before I start, to just tell you how good I feel about all the orange and burnt orange shirts I see out in the group. These are folks that have gone to Washington with us. And if there are any other World War II veterans out there that haven't signed up, please do. We'd love to give you this trip. It is my honor to be here today to present some history and thoughts about Memorial Day. Memorial Day is the one day of the year when we come together as Americans to remember all those who have sacrificed their lives in service to our country. In this moment of remembering, we grieve for those lives that have been taken from us in conflicts. The Revolutionary War, through our current involvement in the Middle East and around the globe, we mourn their loss today. More than 1 million American service members died in the wars and conflicts this nation has fought since the first colonial soldiers took up arms in 1775 to fight for independence. Each person who died during those conflicts was a loved one, cherished by family and friends. Each was a loss to the community and the nation. The observance of this day was born of compassion and empathy in 1863. As the Civil War raged, grieving mothers, wives, daughters, sisters, and other loved ones were cleaning Confederate soldiers' graves in Columbus, Mississippi, placing flowers on them. They noticed that Union soldiers' graves dusty and overgrown with weeds, and they were grieving for their own fallen soldiers. The Confederate women understood that the dead Union soldiers buried nearby were the cherished loved ones of families and communities far away. They cleared the tangled brush and mud from those graves, as well as their own soldiers' graves, and laid flowers on them as well. Soon the tradition of a decoration day for the graves of fallen soldiers spread. On May 5th, 1866, when the Civil War was over, Henry Wells of Waterloo, New York, closed his drugstore and suggested that all other shops in town close up for a day to honor soldiers killed in the Civil War, both Union and Confederate. It was a gesture of healing and reconciliation in a land ripped apart by conflict. 16 years later, in 1882, the nation observed the first official Memorial Day, a day set aside to remember and honor the sacrifice of those who died in our nation's wars. For decades, Memorial Day was a day in our nation when stores closed, communities gathered together for a day of parades and other celebrations with a patriotic theme. Memorial Day meant ceremonies at cemeteries around the country, speeches honoring those who gave their lives, the laying of wreaths, the playing of taps. These ceremonies continue across our great nation. You, present today, remember the true meaning of Memorial Day. You come here to honor our fallen comrades by your presence. You understand that on Memorial Day, we honor the ideals and values those soldiers stood for and died defending. How is it possible to honor such men and women, both the dead and living? Perhaps we should try to imitate both their purpose and lives in both peace and war. Perhaps we should just sincerely thank them for making sure that this island of liberty would continue. Perhaps we should just say this along with Abraham Lincoln: gold is good in its place, but living, brave, patriotic men and women are better than gold. It is fitting and proper that we gather here today to remember and honor those brave men and women who have given their lives that we might live in a free and prosperous United States of America. But in the same sense, it is impossible for us to do anything or say anything that can add to the honor that they so nobly earned. Rather, it is our solemn responsibility to remember them and to give grateful thanks that when their nation called, they answered with their lives. In closing, I would like to read a poem by C.W. Johnson. It is emotional, so please say a little prayer for me that I may get through this and do it justice. We walked among the crosses where our fallen soldiers lay, and listened to the bugle as taps began to play. The chaplain led a prayer. We stood with heads bowed low, and I thought of fallen comrades I had known so long ago. They came from every city across the fertile land that we might live in freedom. They lie here 'neath the sand. I felt a little guilty. My sacrifice was small. I only lost a little time, but these men lost their all. Now the services are over for this Memorial Day. To the names upon these crosses, I just want to say, thanks for what you've given. No one could ask for more. May you rest with God in heaven from now through evermore. Thank you for your kind attention. May God bless America and each one of us. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Councilman Rob Quinn, and with Councilwoman Paula Metzler, we're very honored to participate in the presentation of roses. The procession of roses is a unique tradition on Memorial Day in Penfield. Members of the community and community organizations will present roses which symbolize the service and sacrifice of our veterans and active troops.
When your name is read, please pick up a flag from the person up front by the first row of chairs. Proceed with the flag up to the roses at the top of the hill. Replace one of the roses with your flag. After placing the flag, we encourage you to leave your rose on the memorial.
Joseph Simeon, in honor of all Korean War veterans. Penfield Volunteer Emergency Ambulance, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
The Murphy family, in memory of Ensign Sean Duffy, U.S. Navy pilot. Walton Ayer, in honor of Philip M. Ayer, retired platoon sergeant, U.S. Marines.
Martin Richards and Bonnie Dean, in memory of Captain Faye Brethren, U.S. Air Force. Ida Palumbo, in memory of Tom Palumbo, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army.
The Penfield Public Library, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. Richard Horwitz, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
The Office of County Executive Maggie Brooks, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. Francis and Sheila Ballack, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
Amy Steckloff, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. Mary Turner, in memory of Harold Mandel, U.S. Army.
Bert Turner, in memory of Charles Turner, U.S. Navy. Linda McGrain and Tom Mandel, in memory of William Mandel, U.S. Army.
Robert and Randy Dalgleish, in honor of Captain Adam Dalgleish, U.S. Air Force, and Captain Lucas Dalgleish, U.S. Air Force. Penfield Fire Company, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
Penfield Rotary, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. The Episcopal Church of the Incarnation, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
Penfield Heritage Association, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. Louise Johnston, in memory of Dr. Robert Johnston, U.S. Marines. Jean Casey and family, in memory of Corporal David Casey, U.S. Army.
Don Hoyler, in memory of Technical Sergeant Edwin Hoyler, U.S. Army. Coast Guard Station of Rochester, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
Wade Mertz, in honor of all VFW Post 820 officers and members. Andy Strawhand, in memory of William J. Bushhart and all deceased members of VFW Post 820.
Elmer Pankratz, for Faith Lutheran Church, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. Penfield School District Board of Education, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country.
Nels Carmen Jr., in memory of Nelson Carmen Sr., U.S. Navy.
Bob and Barbara Quinn, in memory of Anthony Andolino, U.S. Army, Richard Quinn, U.S. Navy, and Gabe Brooks, U.S. Army. Penfield Business Association, in honor of all those who have sacrificed their life for our country. Thank you.
The Veterans of Foreign War Essay Contest is a wonderful tradition that we carry on year to year here at the Penfield Memorial Day ceremony. I don't believe there's any other town in Monroe County that does this tradition or does this essay contest. It is my honor to introduce a good friend to the town of Penfield, a Penfield town resident, Commander Andy Strawhan. Commander Strawhan will give a little bit of additional information on the background of this essay contest and introduce the winners. Mr. Strawhan.
Well, as he said, we've been doing this a while. And the kids seem to enjoy it, and I know I do. He mentioned that we do this once a year. Also, VFW has a contest that we run every year. It's another essay contest, which is the Patriots Pen. The information about these is already distributed to the schools, and if you have a child of that age, there's some money involved. In the high school, there's a Voice of Democracy, which we're trying for the first time this year, and I hope that the high school kids will get involved. Our essay contest this year, gee, we're down from 150 last year to only 45, 46 this year. But that's not too bad. Remember, all these guys are kind of young. I have two runners-up, as it were, honorable mentions, very honorable mentions, kids from the Charles Finney School. I wonder if Simon Hurd is here? No. Jennifer Spett? Okay, we'll get those to them. Rushing right down the list, I have the third place winner, Toby Tella. It's all yours, Toby. Don't give up, I'll be right back.
America's veterans have given many things for our country. Although the debt can never be fully repaid, U.S. veterans are honored in many ways daily by America. Some of the things our veterans have given up are time at home with their families, their lives for our country, and their healthy bodies. Veterans are honored daily by people visiting Army memorials and museums. There are a lot of nonprofit organizations that raise money for retired veterans. There are also many existing companies that donate money to veterans all over the United States. In addition, there are also volunteer organizations that cook and clean for the veterans that need them. Also, there are veteran war museums to tell future generations about our veterans' bravery and courage. U.S. veterans give up many things to defend our country. One of them is their time at home with their families. Most of the time when soldiers go off into war, it is in a faraway place and they are separated from their families. By going away to defend the U.S., veterans are willingly giving up possibly years of their lives just for our country. This is one of the many things that people underappreciate. While we read about all of these wars in books and articles, few people realize how much our veterans have sacrificed for our country. Some people don't even ever think about how much our veterans have given up on the battlefield. Our veterans chose to be on a battlefield rather than in a warm living room, and they chose the sound of gunfire rather than the sound of a house fire. Another thing that our veterans have given up is their lives. When soldiers go to war, all of them fully realize that they may not come back alive. Most people underestimate the amount of courage it takes to do what our veterans have done. Despite the fact that the soldiers are risking their lives for people they don't even know, they still fight bravely for our country. That is what our veterans have done for us. A third thing our veterans have given up are their healthy bodies. In the past 8 years, since 2003, 32,000 United States soldiers have been wounded while on active duty. These brave veterans gave up their whole bodies with full physical and mental abilities to protect the United States, and some have returned home brain damaged, disabled, and with post-traumatic stress disorder. For such injured veterans, they will never know life as normal as it was before they went to battle for the U.S. For their families, the loss changes their lives too. They can often no longer work normal jobs and live normal lives. These veterans can never be repaid the full debt that we owe them. Our veterans chose to defend our country over doing anything else, and so many people don't realize how much veterans have given up. More and more people are starting to see how important our veterans are and how much they have given. There are many activities done daily to honor our veterans. One activity that is done daily is when people go to Army memorials and lay down flowers. Another thing is when nonprofit organizations gather money for our veterans. These organizations know what our veterans mean for our country. Although there are a lot of nonprofit organizations, there are also many businesses that donate a portion of their money for retired veterans. Some businesses have change boxes out so that people may donate at will. Also, there are one-time donation websites for Army veterans where people can choose how much they donate. In conclusion, United States veterans have given up a lot for our country and are honored for it. And every day, people are starting to see more and more how much our veterans mean for our country.
I warned you I'd be back. Guess what I've got for you? Certificate from the town of Penfield. And it says, in recognition of winning third place in the Memorial Day Essay Contest, thank you for sharing your thoughts on Memorial Day. By doing so, you continue to honor the men and women who died so that we may live free. That's yours. Now don't leave yet. See, this is a good day. Oh my goodness, another certificate. This one is from the VFW, and it says pretty much that Toby Tella of Rochester Christian School won third place. With that comes this envelope. What do you suppose is in that envelope?
I am not sure.
Why don't you look?
Another certificate.
No, I was thinking in terms of the envelope. That white thing. This one. See what's in there. Sometimes you have to fight to give them away. Toby, thank you very much. And we'll call up the next winner now. Thank you. You guys can't realize the number of hours spent reading these essays and trying to make a reasonable decision. The better they get, the harder it is. And for that, I thank you all. Second place winner, Natalie Costanza.
The armed forces. They are not just a group of men and women. They are a group of men and women that put their lives on the line and gave up so much just so that you and I can be free. If it hadn't been for the current and past serving men and women, our country would be a completely different place. Freedom may not have been obtained if they hadn't stepped in to fight for what our country believes in. Soldiers and veterans have given up so much for the United States of America. They have proven to our country and the world that America, as a nation, will not give up and will fight for what is right. Having a family member that has served in the military also makes it more important to me that we recognize the works of our military. My grandfather served as part of the commander of naval forces Far East as a naval radio man during World War II in Tokyo, Japan. He has always taught me to respect the works of our veterans and current men and women fighting for our country. Soldiers and veterans have given up so much. They have given up their hopes and dreams, and for some, their lives, just so that my generation may have peace in the country and the world. With the courage and willpower of many citizens of this great nation, we defeated other nations to bring peace to our world. Veterans and currently serving men and women put their personal dreams on hold for the sake of our nation. Honoring veterans and soldiers should be done by everyone daily. One way many people, including myself, honor them is simply by saying thank you. Thank you for all that you have given to this country. Thank you for serving. Thank you for making our nation and the world a better place. They deserve to be honored daily because of what they've done. If it hadn't been for them, Who knows what the world and our country would be like? Another way we honor the military every day is flying the American flag. They risk their lives to ensure that that flag will be flown and people would have utmost respect for it. Members of the military are just like us, but have taken a duty that may be unpredictable. They have chosen to represent our nation in a way that few have, by serving our country, all in an effort to make living for us a little easier. Soldiers and veterans have given up so much for the sake of our country. Many have given up hopes and dreams. If our military members, past and current, didn't enlist, we may not have won wars, nor had the rights we have today. They should be honored daily because of what they've done. That's why I say thank you, because if they hadn't given up personal dreams, then our country and world wouldn't be the same. Thank you.
Very good. Well, now you know the routine now. I have this neat-looking certificate for you,
Thank you.
and I have another neat-looking certificate for you. And this one has this in there,
Okay.
and that's all yours.
Thank you.
Thank you. See, I warned you, they get better as you go. KLAJBOR, are you here? Katie's here, I know she's here. There is movement, hang in there. KLAJBOR won last year too, so keep an eye on her. She's a comer.
An act of devotion. Devotion to a purpose is reflected by centering your attention or activities on a crucial belief. It requires a complete and purposeful dedication of yourself. Devotion guides your thoughts, your actions, and your goals. American soldiers and veterans have devoted themselves to our country. They have placed service to America above their personal futures and even above the love for their families and friends. For over 200 years, American soldiers and veterans have pledged allegiance to America with every aspect of their lives. Soldiers demonstrate this total commitment to service to our country by relinquishing their freedom to choose where they live and what work they do. They train and prepare to serve and defend the interests of America. They obey their commanders and execute orders without debate. One soldier in today's Army Reserve explained that many soldiers do not always agree with what the government's decisions about where they serve and the political reasons why they're there. However, he said that all soldiers do believe that it is their duty to protect America and its citizens in the way that their leaders direct. This sacrifice to personal opinion is necessary to defend our values and freedoms from enemies who should come even to the shores of America to destroy their beliefs and our way of life. If soldiers and veterans have not devoted themselves to our protection, America, as we live in it today, would not exist. When we, as American citizens, exercise the rights that we were so carefully safeguarded by our soldiers, we honor their service. When the stars and stripes are flown from your front porch, when a classroom of children say the Pledge of Allegiance, and when you vote in a referendum or to elect your governmental representatives, you instinctively celebrate the devotion of American soldiers and veterans. When the system of checks and balances in our government protects the freedom of the least powerful among its citizens, it pays tribute to the self-sacrificing service of its military fighters. When you wake up each morning in the land of the free, you do so because of our military men and women revered American ideals above themselves. Sometimes it becomes too easy to forget that we have others to thank for these privileges. We take them for granted, and when that happens, we dishonor the sacrifices that others have made. In honor of the service of American soldiers and veterans, and in grateful appreciation of the preservation of our values and freedoms, we must respectfully exercise our rights and responsibilities as citizens. And we must never, ever forget to take the opportunity to thank our military men and women for their devotion. On this Memorial Day 2011, I thank you.
all, Katie. There's one.
Thank you.
There's another.
Thank you.
And would you pick that envelope out for me?
Thank you.
Tell me what's in there.
Oh my gosh.
By golly, the whole one, huh? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank all of the kids who have written their essays, the teachers that have helped them along the way, and all the parents that put up with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commander Strawhand. We look forward to hearing 3 more wonderful essays next year. At this time, I'd ask everybody to please rise and turn your attention to the memorial for the raising of the flag. Thank you. Before we conclude today's ceremony, I would just like to give a special thanks to Woody Mensch, our guest speaker, and his wonderful emotional poem that he read. I'd like to give a round of applause to the Penfield Pops Band for their wonderful music. And a special thanks to our Penfield town staff for putting this event together today, particularly Sabrina Renner and Chris Bilo. And I'd just like to make a couple acknowledgments of some special guests that have joined us today. Representing County Executive Maggie Brooks is Penfield resident and Deputy County Executive Dan DeLaws. Monroe County Legislator representing Penfield, Debbie Draw. And Monroe County Legislator representing Penfield, Webster, and Brighton, Dan Quattro. With us today is Penfield Town Judge John Lamenzo. And Penfield Town Clerk Amy Steckloff. Thank you for joining us. When we conclude the ceremony, up at the pavilion at the top of the hill, Tim Hortons has graciously provided some refreshments, so please stick around and enjoy the weather, socialize a little bit, and have a quick drink. And I'd like to call at this time upon Chris Flute for our benediction.
May God bless you and keep you from harm. May God shine the light of his face upon you and be gracious to you. May God turn to smile upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Please have a safe Memorial Day weekend, a wonderful day. Enjoy your family and friends, and thank you for being here at the 2011 Town of Penfield Memorial Day service. Have a good day.